Hey, what's up, YouTube world? Today we are talking about how to take care of yourself, right? We're talking about 5 different aspects of spiritual well-being. And so there's this not scientific, but psychological study out there that talks about wellness, right? The dimensions of wellness. And pretty much these categories come in the form of emotional, intellectual, spiritual, occupational, and did I say intellectual? Physical? Oh, emotional. That's the last one. And I read this and I go, dimensions of wellness. And then they had a category for spiritual wellness. And I said, but aren't these all really spiritual in essence? And so I like to categorize them all as spiritual, right? Because they all make up some part or aspect of our being. So why can't they be categorized as the dimensions of spiritual wellness? And so anyway, I'm going to give you my, my top 5 tips on what I do to make sure that each one of these categories are fulfilled. And if you have some suggestions and if you do other things, then yeah, definitely let us know in the comments. Now, the examples that I'm going to give you are not the only things that I do, but these are things that I do more often than not. Like, for example, the physical category of wellness, right? I tend to do a lot of spiritual baths. And during these times, I'm making sure that my cells are clean, my body is clean from any outside energy that's not mine, or if I need to raise my vibration, if I'm just not feeling, balanced enough, then I do take care of the physical essence of myself. Now, what could I do more to take care of this physical essence? Yeah, I could probably exercise a little bit more, which I promise I'm going to get there. I've been talking my way into it. and so that's another way to take care of that part. Now, the reason why I refer to this as spiritual and not necessarily just on the broader term wellness, right? There is a lecture out there in the YouTube world that I was looking at pretty heavily a couple of years ago, and it made so much sense. And his name is Bruce Lipton. And a lot of his lectures were centered around the biology of belief. And it's more so the spiritual world meeting the biology world. And he broke it down, and he has a whole lot of information if you're interested in going and finding him. But he has a whole lot of information that talks about breaking things down to the cellular level of our body. And that means literally how our cells either remember or they remember what we're going through. They know what you're telling them to do. And you might not be sitting there going, hey, cells, okay, let's do this. We're going to do X, Y, Z. No, what I'm saying is that whatever you feel, whatever you speak, your cells in your body is reacting to that. And so that's why I say, okay, yeah, we're physical, but if we're commanding ourselves to do certain things and to vibrate on a certain level through either our thoughts, actions, words, or emotions, then why can't it be categorized in the spiritual essence of the categories? Yeah. You understand what I'm trying to say. So that's what I do. And like I said, some people like to do other things that fall into the physical category. So if you have a suggestion, drop it in the comments. But let me go ahead to number 2, right? I like to do things to make sure that my house is clean. And this is under the occupational category. And I say that occupational is spiritual because we are exerting energy whenever we are doing something, especially like going to a job or even working for ourselves. I like to make sure that my house is clean. I'm not the best at that, but I like to make sure that my house is clean because this is a place that I'm always in my house. So I'm working, I'm cooking, I'm taking care, and one day my house will clean itself. I don't know if you can feel me on that, but if you can, then let me know. But anyhow, let's talk a little bit about those that actually have to go in somewhere and work for other people or another organization or something. So when we have to go outside of ourselves and work in another institution, we have to not necessarily do the task of that work, but those tasks require energy, right? They require something of us to give to them. And so even if it's you moving a piece of paper to the next desk, or if you're building something in manufacturing, you are giving your energy to this place. Now, some people are okay with the energy that they're giving, and some people are not. I have work jobs that I have hated before. I reluctantly went into these different positions, and there wasn't too many that I hated, but there's definitely a couple. I would go into this space to work, and I regretted giving my energy every single day. And so what kept me there? What kept me in that particular moment in time going to that certain place? Well, at the time, it came in the form of a paycheck. It happens to a lot of people. A lot of people say, I hate giving my energy, but I'm going to go and give my energy, but I'm going to get paid in a couple of weeks. Now, that's okay for a certain amount of time, because over time, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to be giving more and more energy, and you're not going to be as fulfilled over time when they are paying you. Now, there are other things that jobs tend to do too, as far as motivation is concerned, like rewards and recognition. But really, that's okay for adults. But if you're like 5, that's awesome, right? Yay, I'm recognized for working here for 5 years. Okay, give me my pen, give me my certificate. But that's only going to last but for so long. A 5-year-old, they'll probably be living high for the rest of the year. But for an adult, yeah, I need something tangible to be able to carry my life forward, like pay bills, eat, etc., etc. And my my rap is sliding backwards, and I'm just like, oh boy, it's gonna pop off sometime. So I'm going to take a minute here to resituate this. And yes, I'm going to look crazy in a moment, but it's okay because it's not sliding as bad now. Anyway, let's go ahead and go on to number 3. We are talking about intellectual. Now, I myself am a professional student, and I've always joked about that. But in reality, aren't we all a professional student, right? Life is all about lessons. It's all about understanding. It's all about growing and becoming better. And so if you're in this space where you are creating, or where you are feeding your intellectual aspect of being, then what do you do? Like for me, I love learning, so I tend to either research things, but I also like to research things to be able to create things. And so, like, for example, today I bought this like 550 herbal book, not necessarily remedies, but they talked about 550 different herbs and how they help enhance, our body, our well-being, our health. And when I get this book, because I'm so excited for it to come, I don't like Kindle, I like a physical book. When I get this book, I'm going to dig into it, and I'm going to create some different products to be able to put out there on my Etsy shop. And so that is how I feed my intellectual side, right? What do you do to feed your intellectual side? It might not be researching. It might not be going, to learn. It could be a seminar that you go to that talks about, I don't know, how to plant a garden or something, right? And as long as you're paying attention to that side, then you'll be able to continue to grow in that aspect or that dimension of wellness. All right. So we talked about physical, we talked about intellectual, we talked about occupational. Now let's talk about spiritual. That was one of the categories, but like I said, I really call all of them spiritual. But this particular dimension of being, for me, I like to practice mindfulness at times and just making sure that I'm present. Now, Yeah, we want to make sure that we're always mindful, we're always present, but we also live in a society where we are doing a lot of things. I know for me, I'm always doing something. And so I have to force myself, to say, you need to stop. You need to pay attention not only to your breath, you need to look at what's around you, what's going on. Where are you right now? And so when I stop myself and I begin to ask myself these things, I'm forcing myself to connect with my spirit and understand more of what's around me and what's going on. Now, why is that important? The reason why that's important is because if we're not paying attention to that, then our spirit can easily drift too far in the past with either feelings of regret, feelings of fear, well, not really fear, but feelings of regret, feelings of sadness, feelings of just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And if we can drift too far in the future with feelings of anxiety, just a whole bunch of different things, right? That really doesn't play into the things that's going to help us along the way and increase our spirit and make us feel better about who we are. And so that is what mindfulness and that is what being present forces you to do, is to be in that moment so that you can connect with yourself, tune in, check in. Hey, spirit, what's going on? How are you doing? Is there something that we need to do today that we didn't do yesterday? That kind of thing. All right. So again, intellectual, occupational, spiritual, physical, and emotional. That is the last one. We're talking about emotion, right? Making sure that our emotions are in check. So yeah, mindfulness helps with that, but I'm taking it a little bit further, right? And for me, what I like to do is making sure that I have conversations with people that are going to feed me, right? And of course, I want to be able to feed them as well. Now, it's really easy. It's really easy to get caught up in conversations with people that are not feeding you. For example, you can have a friend that you love to talk to. You fell into the habit of talking to them quite often, and especially over the years. But have you ever stopped to pay attention to make sure that the conversation quality is feeding you and you're feeding them? Because if not, it might fall into the woe is me category. We've all had these friends before, right? And if you're not paying attention to it, you can easily fall into that trap of, let me talk to you, my friend, to see how bad you're doing so I can compare how bad I'm feeling and so that we can feel bad together. And really, in essence, it's like you're falling into this whole category of, or you're just competing with who can feel the worst. And that's not good. So you want to be sure that you're paying attention to these type conversations, to be sure that you're continuously elevating who you are, what you are, right? And so I like to make sure that I speak to my husband, I talk to him, and not just the, hey, good morning, not those kind of conversations, but really talking about something that's going to be enjoyable for the both of us. And then we can, laugh about it later. And that actually brings me to my last bonus tip. Anytime that you may be feeling out of whack, anytime that you may be feeling horrible, anytime where you just you want to scream, the simplest thing that you can do is laugh. I know. It's so simple, right? It's simple. Just laugh. But you're probably sitting there saying but I really don't want to laugh. I don't want to laugh. Well, you just have to fake it till you make it. You might have to sit there and laugh and make yourself sound crazy before you begin to feel better. But I promise you, laughter will help. And even if you don't want to sit there and fake it, then try turning on something that's going to force that laugh. So I'm not perfect. This morning, I woke up. I wasn't feeling bad, but I just wasn't all the way there. Something was really off. I didn't like the space that I was in. And my husband even noticing, he was like, you look kind of spacey. And I'm like, no, I'm just lost in my own thoughts. And I noticed, I said, whoa, we have got to stop this. I do not like where I'm getting or where I'm headed if I continue on this path of my thoughts. And so something interrupted me on my phone where I looked and I said, oh my gosh. And I laughed. I laughed without even thinking like, wait, no, but you're supposed to be down. I laughed. And that laughter actually triggered something else that made me laugh. And instantly, I really started to raise my own vibration and my own spirit. And things started to progress even better throughout the day. So that is my last bonus tip for you. I hope that you take some of these and really apply them to your life. Now, if you don't, if you're like, I don't really know about all of those. I might can change some and I might, don't really want to worry about the rest. Well, it's really important that we take and examine all of these things and how they play out in our lives, because what can end up happening is that over time, what you'll find is that your energy will start depleting. You'll find that you're not feeling your best. You're not feeling like yourself. And so if you don't take the time to kind of check into these different categories, like I said, things will progressively get worse before they can get better. So if you feel like this now, definitely take time to look into these 5 categories and see what you can change, see what you can alter. And if you need some guidance and if you need some help, then by all means, let me know. I do free consultations. So I'll go ahead and drop that link down in the description below in this video. And if you want to chat about it, we can. So that's the reason why I'm here. All right. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. And I love each and every one of you all. Mwah.